with Pinch of Basile. I am your wonderful and beautiful host, Basile. I am here.
When did you get beautiful? When did you get beautiful? Come on.
Listen. In prison, very popular. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, you are listening to Pinch of Basile. I am here with my wonderful and gorgeous co-host Janice Hermston, and we could not do this show without our chief engineer, Christian Meyer. Christian, Janice, how y'all doing?
Good. You can call me wonderful and gorgeous as well if you want.
Not so much. Not so much. Right. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'll call you wonderful and gorgeous. How about that?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I'm yesterday's meatloaf. Anyway, don't forget we live stream on Facebook. That's right. If you're watching Basile Fans on Facebook, that's BASILEFANS. Like me, join me. We already have 24 people who are watching right this very, very second. Be part of this show. You can also, don't forget, we do not only do that, but we go to the TuneIn app. That's right. The TuneIn app on any phone or device. Once you hit that app, just search America Matters. And if you're on the computer, go to americamatters.us. You're going to find where it says wonderful things like a pinch of Basile. Join that show on americamatters.us. We want to hear your comments, especially today. I know there's a lot of Greek Orthodox Christians out there, kids, alumni from Ionian Village. Father Evagoras will be with us. Father Evagoras is a good friend of mine. I've known him for years. I've got an opportunity to have some fun to go to Ionian Village, which unfortunately was canceled for this summer. And my heart goes out to all the actual camp instructors that were going to be, counselors there, and they can't go. My daughter being one of them, Katerina Kitsikas. So we're very, very, very sad that it canceled, but because of this thing called, you ever hear of this thing called coronavirus?
Go figure. Yeah, something like knew? That. Yeah, who knows?
Yes. So, listen, if you got questions, make sure you give us a call, 844-790-8255. 844-790-8255. Yes, at the bottom of the hour, Father Evagoras will be with us. You can ask him questions over that phone, or you can even text us. Janice, what's that text number?
That would be 775-237-2266.
And don't forget, we're broadcasting live all over the world, not only on Facebook, not with Basile Fans, not only on americamatters.us, but folks, we happen to be heard all over around the world on Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beat Radio.
We do not screw around with the effects here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Basile Show.
We don't. Wonderful. Those are awesome.
No, we certainly do not. We know many people around the world who are stuck in their homes right now. I don't care if you're all over, all my fan base in Australia, those who over throughout Europe, the UK, listen, France, Germany, Greece, Cyprus, all over in between. I even have fans in Russia. Can you believe that? Russia. I have fans in Russia.
Go figure.
Who knew? Yeah, who knew?
Not
so
me.
We have them all over the place. South Africa, North America. We even have them in, Asia and South and Central America. So I'm very, very excited about my fans, and I want to thank them all for following us. Hey, if you're watching right now, if you've never been on Basile Fans, why don't you go to Basile Fans on Facebook real quick? Like us. We're going to see if we can get 100,000 likes in the next couple of months, because we got some things rolling that we need you guys. We need
to pump it up.
Yes, baby. And again, one of the things that my wife says I overdo it sometimes with the thank yous and stuff like that.
No, not you.
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe. But for all the emergency medical people, for the nurses, the doctors, for the ambulance drivers, the police officers, thank you. For all the people who are working so hard for the federal government to make sure that we have everything. For the people
truck
who stock
drivers.
The truck drivers that go from east to west, west to east, north to south, south to north, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, the people who work at the grocery store, making sure that you guys are loading up all the food for us. The federal government, listen, we need that PPP money. The PPP money. I hate when I say that because it sounds dirty. But we need the PPP money, and also the SBA. We need all that stuff. So if we can do anything to kind of get that moving, we'd be really happy. We really would.
Yep.
And we're gonna, but the one thing, Janice, I don't know what you've been doing at your home. Cool is about this close to killing me, and I don't understand why. I'm a pleasant, wonderful person to be around, and shut up, Janice. And the thing is, what I want to say is that I have done everything. This woman has plotted my death in so many ways. I know I was reading her notes, and she wrote down, I wonder if he gets stabbed with 37 knives in the back, and I leave a suicide note that he wrote. Will it work? Not so much.
Not so much.
Not so much. And
my husband is fortunate, and I still work. So he's fortunate not to have me every minute of every day.
What's the one thing that you've been eating recently that you kind of dig, that you really love eating? Because me, it's koulourakia. It's the buttery braided dough cookies that we have, that the Greeks have. We've been eating, spanakopita, triopites. We've been eating stuff, but we got to be careful now because we're, fasting, so we can't have any type of meats and stuff like that. And we're doing the best we can. I'm fasting as much as I can. We haven't been really eating any red meats, but I mean, have you any great foods that you've been kind of chomping on recently that you really dig?
How about you, Christian? Anything?
We've been baking good, brownies and cookies. And
I'd made cupcakes, and I'm getting ready to make some cinnamon rolls, so I guess that would be it.
Ooh. Yeah, and my daughter, my youngest daughter, Katerina, she loves chocolate chip cookies.
Oh,
I like mine.
You and Christian.
I like
her
mine,
and Christian.
Oh, yeah, but I like mine kind of like overburnt a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Crispy.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I love that.
You're crazy.
That. With ice cream. Oh, and take Fritos and the Fritos and dip it into like ice cream and wonderful.
On that note.
Yes, on that note, folks, we got to take that little thing so we can pay the bills. Take a break. You're listening to A Pinch of Basile. We'll be right back for the second half.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back. You're listening to A Pinch of Basile all over the world, from Australia, all the way throughout Europe, North America, South Africa, all the way down to Central and South America. And for all of you listening, and I want to thank our wonderful people over in England with Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beats Radio. Beats Radio.
That's right, Greek Beat Radio, baby. And then we're going to start, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be calling the promoters this week. I promise. For you guys, I'm going to call so I can make sure I owe them a couple of things that I got to give them as well. And then we're going to wind up making sure we take care of all the business so we can try and put together some shows over in London. And then we're going to be all over the place. So for all of you right now, again, to the healthcare workers, God bless you. The doctors, God bless you. The nurses, those who've even came out of retirement. And next week, Dr. Stephanie Thomas will be with us. She is the pediatric oncologist over at the Cleveland Clinic who's involved intimately with the coronavirus, especially in the Cleveland area as well. She'll be with us and then discussing some of the issues with oncology, cancer, and the research that's being done and stuff. She is a wonderful lady. And I'm very proud to call her my cousin. So she's going to be with us. That's right. I get to kind of fling, my relatives in the show once in a while.
But will she be proud to call you her cousin?
No, of course not. No, because she knows.
Big question.
But it's all right. See, I got stuff on her. Just remember the phrase Chinese buffet. That's all I got to say. And she knows exactly what it means. So, Janice, have you done anything? My yard has never looked better.
Well, again, we live in different worlds because I'm still going to work every day and still doing what I always do. And this is what we talked about this on my show, that the rift between those people who are going to work every day and still have the same schedule and those who are sitting at home saying, when is this going to be over? And some of them live together, and that's kind of awful. So I'm one of those that goes to work every day.
Well, so do I. I mean, I've been working on a script.
Yeah, but your schedule is different because you're not going out on your gigs. You're not doing those things. So it is really different for you.
True, it is. And you know what? We are slowly starting to piece together some of the shows that have been pushed back slightly. I'll be in New York in June. It's all over. But, hell, let's be honest. I've lost all of my March. I came back off the ship. All my April is gone. A little bit of May is gone. So, and by the time you push back shows and everything, it's a little bit convoluted.
Yeah. It's like anybody who's in sales knows, you stop marketing and, oh, man, you're done. You're done for a while. And it takes a while to get ramped up again, You really are. And the thing is, because I work exclusively for Royal Caribbean, thank you, Royal Caribbean, and, they pay me handsomely, and I love doing what I do. And then the Greek shows, the Greek concerts and everything. This was a very, very big time for us because it was right after Greek Easter. It was a lot of fun. And, people will mention, what's the difference between Greek Easter and regular Easter? Well, Greek Easter is like usually a week to 5 weeks after regular Easter. We got to follow the equinox, the vernal equinox. We got to follow that. And then it's the Jewish Passover that we have to follow. And then someone has to witness Bigfoot walking in downtown San Francisco. Then we do our Easter. And, and it's great to have your Easter that far behind because our candy is so much cheaper. So even though it's just that way, of course, we always got the chocolate bunnies that had no ears. That's
right. It took me 20 years to realize that they do have ears. Yeah. Anyway, we got some stuff here, things to do in isolation. And I want to thank Janice for actually doing this. Tell them what Disney is doing right now with Cinderella's
Castle. They are lighting up Cinderella's Castle in blue to honor the healthcare workers. A friend of mine sent me the notice from Orlando, and I thought that was really pretty cool. I know that there are probably a lot of other cities that are doing similar type things.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's great. Transamerica Pyramid. The beacon light is nightly to honor the healthcare workers.
Right.
I think that is very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Folks, these people are not only putting themselves on the line, how dangerous it is, but they're putting their families on the line because they're going home. And you know what? They deserve all the accolades that we could possibly give them.
And so many people are not living even in the same area with their family. One of my friends was telling me how her son goes out, but he comes home and he's basically got the house separated because he's out and about. So and they're at risk. So he comes in, he showers, he's strips down, does the whole thing, and actually keeps totally separate in the house from them. So it's a real change in lifestyles for everybody.
No two ways. You think we'll ever get back to the way things were?
I do, but I'm an optimist. So. Yeah, I'm an optimist. I think that when you figure out a treatment, when you finally, you'll get a vaccine, that won't happen right away. But if you can get a treatment that's pretty effective, that's proven, I think that everybody will be, a little bit better about being able to go out there. So
no, I agree. I think things will go back to the way it once was. There's no two ways about it. And I think we're probably a hell of a lot closer than a lot of people. Everybody says, it's going to be a year. I think they're going to try and expedite this. I really do because supposedly this virus is going to come back again in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's going to come back for sure.
And I think we're going to have something by then. And now, listen,
we're looking for some sort of a cleaner for our books so that we can, once we open up again, that we'll be able to spray down the books. Because right now they're fine. They've been sitting for a long time. Nobody's been in, so we're okay. But once we start having customers again, we're kind of looking for that thing that will be in some kind of protection for the people that are coming in. So,
do you? As far as when you do the book thing, are these books in fantastic shape, or are they? How are they?
They're paperbacks, so it's kind of hard to clean a paperback, right? But there's got to be something that you can either spray on or something. I'm sure somebody's going to come up with something if it isn't already there. So
probably.
We'll figure it out. We never had to worry about that, right?
Listen,
just regular old germs.
Really? Most of the books that I kept, as far as from college, I never gave up anything that pertained to my major, even to my minor. I have a ton of economics books that are available to me in my own library. Law books, from contracts, torts. I mean, you name it, A to Z. I have everything. My Black's dictionary, it's referred to as a Black's Law Dictionary. Have that. Bouvier's
I think we have
2-volume
one of
dictionary.
those in stock. We had somebody who did some law stuff and dropped those off to us. So I think we even have that.
Oh, beautiful.
How about that?
And then, we absolutely. Now, Janice, there's more than just cooking and building things with spaghetti and actual marshmallows. Howling has become fashionable. Again, howling.
Can you believe that? Yeah. People are
Healthcare
howling.
workers. It's called Howling for Humanity.
Yes.
It's happening across America. Sausalito. Is it called
Incline Village? Yeah, Incline Village. Yeah, that's in Nevada.
All over the Bear.
Other side of South Lake Tahoe. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In Denver, Colorado, one of the local broadcasters gave her sample of howling.
Yeah, the local broadcaster was actually right here in Reno. I saw her this morning giving her example of how she howls for healthcare. It's different. It's different. I'm not a howler myself. I think I would prefer the lights for life.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'm sorry. I get it. I understand it. I can see why, but
I will yodel. I have no problem
You're
yodeling.
gonna yodel. All right,
but I'm going to keep it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it?
Not bad. I'm surprised.
I'm versatile. I am truly versatile. Oh, not so
there
much.
you go. There we
I can do that.
Well, we'll get people to yodel but see, yodel for healthcare doesn't work. Howling for healthcare works.
I need
right?
a little Band-Aid. See what I'm saying?
What is happening here?
Or clapping because we care. I love to clap, and I think all of our healthcare people deserve that.
Yeah,
Lights for life. People are putting Christmas lights to spread the joy, and I think that's what we're going to do this Friday. We're going to use some Christmas lights.
There you go. Good.
In addition,
yeah,
I think I'm going to do that because we need to, and I might even have the Nutcracker Boys sing a couple of songs. I don't know yet. I got to call up Manutz, my good friend, Manny Meliodas, and I got to see if I can get him. He'll bring his wonderful friend Tasso, his puppet. Yeah, I don't know. The guy gets more fan mail than I do. And listen, let me see. In addition to honoring those who are working to save lives, on the opposite side, I wonder how many odd habits you might have. Do I have any odd habits? I don't think so.
No.
None that I'm going to share. I mean, I do like walking around in high heels, but is that odd?
Yeah, well, I guess that depends on who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say just something. And, of course, wearing the high heels, you can't do yard work because if you do, you're going to strike oil with the way you just sink
I don't
right
think
there.
your wife's
You know what I'm
buying
saying?
that excuse. I don't think so. She's smarter than that.
Oh, my God. Q-tips. Yeah, do you know, that's very interesting. You have the thing about Q-tips. My God. So I use Q-tips all the time. I keep my ears very, very, very clean. I cannot stand disgusting ears. I will talk to someone, and when they turn their head, my eyes go right to their ears to see if there's any junk in there. Ugh,
what a great way to take us out today.
Well, I'm all about the, that
the exit.
Stuff. Yeah. Well, anyway, listen, we're going to do, this is the bottom of the half. We're going to be right back with more of Pinch of Basile with our guest, Father Evagoras Constantinides.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
We are indeed back with a Pinch of Basile. You're listening to Pinch of Basile all over the world, not only here in North America, but in South Africa. We got it all throughout Europe. We got it all through Australia, Central and South America. We're all over the place, and I want to thank my friends in London with Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beat Radio. Greek Beat Radio.
That's right. We don't pull punches, folks. We pull out the big bucks when we do our effects. So anyway, I want to right now introduce to you a very, very close friend, a person who I truly admire. Father Evagoras Constantinides is the Dean of Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Cathedral of Brooklyn. He has served the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America in a variety of roles, including the Director of Youth and Young Adults for the Direct Archdiocesan District, the Archdiocesan Registrar, Spokesman for the St. Nicholas National Shrine, who you know I'm close with that too. The Director of Camping Ministries and Director of Ionian Village. Father Evagoras is a dynamic visionary, strategic leader, and has a genuine capacity to record as a team builder who can inspire and lead the efforts to enhance the ministries and their stature and develop their full potential in accordance with the distinct ethos, history, and mission of the Greek Orthodox Church. Since the beginning of COVID-19 crisis, the closing of churches to the faithful, Father Evagoras has been uploading his weekly sermons, which are wonderful, may I add, to social media, touching on issues involving pandemic and how we as faithful believers are dealing with these issues. The sermons have been viewed by not just thousands, but tens of thousands of people from across the globe. And Father Ev, good to have you on board. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for calling.
I tell you what, I'm going to give a little brief history. When Kula and I were going to Greece, we go to Greece as often as we possibly can. And I really dig because Ionian Village is, to me, one of the greatest tools we have for the Greek Orthodox Church. Now, you don't have to be Greek to be part of the Greek Orthodox Church. Everyone thinks it has something to do with an ethnic type thing. It doesn't. It's an actual faith, the Greek Orthodox Church. And the one thing that I truly love about it is this camp caters to these wonderful kids, and they go and they hit all these wonderful religious places that they can see from churches and stuff that has so much significance to Christianity, and it's just wonderful. And we are doing nothing more than creating ambassadors for the Greek Orthodox faith, because when my kid came back, I thought she was brainwashed, but she came back knowing more about the Greek Orthodox faith and everything around it, and Kula and I were so impressed, my wife. Do you remember when we went to St. Andrew's a church when I went with you guys the first time? And do you remember when my wife went to venerate St. Andrew, when she went to go and kiss where the skull was, and she didn't know that there was this big plastic bubble over? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she does her cross. You hear, boom! And what did you and I do? We just started laughing.
Of course. It is natural, as is natural.
So we had such a great time. My daughter was a camper with you. I know most of our viewers and the people who are listening to the show and viewing the show on Facebook, fans, on Basile fans with us, are doing. Tell us what's going on right now. What are you up to these days?
Well, I am like you said, I'm at Saints Constantine and Helen Cathedral here in Brooklyn. It is a historic community. It's over 100 years old. It's actually the first Greek Orthodox church on Long Island. After the immigrants were in Manhattan, and they had moved over to Brooklyn already, but they didn't have a church. And so they finally, right over the bridge, they built their own church back in 1913. And we have, it's a really a gem here in downtown Brooklyn. We have a parochial school with 180 kids. They get Greek every day. They get religion once a week. We start the morning with prayers. We pray before meals. I mean, there is no better community that I could have tumbled my way into. And, they've been so loving to Maria and myself and the boys that we have truly, we went from one absolutely amazing, unbelievable, life-changing ministry, and it changed our lives for many years. Maria and I met there at IV. It was really our first thing that we did out of our first real thing that we did out of seminary. We did it for so long, and then to come out of that and have a family and have the boys and need to, really find a place to put in roots. There's no better place than where we landed.
Well, I'll tell you what, you come from a long line of priests. Your grandfather was a priest. Your dad's a priest. And you're a priest. And the only thing I have issues with is that you and your dad are big Steelers fans. And that's really the only issue I truly have. I actually went and did a show in Dallas for your father. I did a show in Long Island, New York for your father. And every time he lets me go into his office to change, I have to go to the bathroom because you would have thought Steeler Nation puked all over his office, because that's all there is Steelers paraphernalia. Steeler jersey, Steeler helmet, Steeler football, Steeler this, Steeler that. And I can't stand it because I'm a Cleveland Browns fan and I'm jealous. Okay? So it's just the way it is. Was it easy for you to become a priest? I mean, knowing that your grandfather was, knowing that your dad was, I know that you're in the life. Did you want to be a priest when you were younger?
No, not even like a little bit. People used to ask me, I was like, get out of here. Literally no way. Because I think that when you grow up as a PK, right, as a priest kid, you see a very different side of the priesthood, and you know what it is. You know that it's 24/7. You know that it's meetings. You don't get to do the stuff other kids get to do. You don't get to do traveling soccer. You don't get to go and, be a scout that has, trips on Sunday mornings. You miss a lot of that stuff. Yeah. By no fault of their own, right? But it's a different lifestyle. And, I've always told people that, I did not choose to be a priest. God basically was just like, okay, I'll get you one day. And it was a very gradual process. It was like a gradual kind of like lead up. Like I had been thinking about it a little bit when I was in college, but then I was in college. So then I stopped thinking about it. And it was really after I graduated and I went to Ionian Village as a staff member, and I came home and I was doing a lock-in at my dad's church in Maryland. And it was me and the assistant priest, and the assistant priest had to leave and to go to an emergency. And he was like, all right, you got this. And I was 22 years old. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. Okay. And so I stayed up all night and I was with the kids all night and I did the lock-in. And I remember very tangibly the next morning getting up, getting in my car, all the kids had left. And I remember turning out of the church parking lot onto the main street. And as I was turning, I thought to myself, this is what you need to be doing. And from that moment, I'm telling you, I got home. I called Sonia Belcher, who was the dean of admissions at the school at the time. I called her up. I said, I need to come up and visit, and it's a history from there.
How were your parents? How did your parents take to that?
My dad has always been really great about not. He always, would tell people when we were little, when I was a little kid, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to be a priest, that's great. If not, great. And so my dad really didn't say very much, even as I went to seminary. He was just like, if this is what you want to do, it's your decision. My mom was, a little like, are you sure this is what you want to do? I'm going to try it out.
And I know your mom, and that's the way she would tell you.
Like the day before I'm getting ready to go up and my dad's like helping me pack and my mom's like zooms down the basement stairs. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. But it really wasn't.
But the great thing is, I got to tell you, and I didn't mean to cut you off, and I'll let you go back. But the great thing, you are so wonderful with kids. It doesn't matter. Look, I always tell them, if you don't catch them at a young age, you're going to lose them in their late teens and 20s. And you got to make those kids in a way where they want to come to church. I mean, listen, when they're in college, when they're in college, I used to tell them, I said, too bad you guys can't go to church when you're in college. And then my wife said, why can't they go to church when they're in college? I mean, Zacharula went to church, goes right across the street. There was no excuse for her not to go. But what you're doing now with your ministry and actually sharing, and we'll get to this, doing the liturgy on the internet now because we all can't get to church. And we, like I said, we will discuss that. But you're so, and I hate to say it, they're so damn good with the kids. And I saw the way that you were at IV, and I see the way that you are. You have excitement. You have the kids they're basically eating out of your hands. And I think that's wonderful. I really do. Go ahead, tell me the rest of it.
Let me add a really simple caveat to that, right? It's not me. It's at the end of the day, it's about making the mission of the church accessible to them in a way that they understand. And so when you see these kids who are coming to the camp or at the online or at whatever ministries, it's not Father Evagoras. It's figuring out a way to use my background, which is in communications, to show them Christ and show them that Christ loves them and explain it to them in a way that's relevant. And I think that when you do that, then you see their eyes light up. You see them respond. You see them want to be a part of ministries. That's what's making the difference in these kids' lives. It's Jesus Christ. It's simply put. It's just simply put. We're going to be right back after these messages. You are watching A Pinch of Basile. We'll be right after these messages.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back on The Pinch of Basile. You are listening to Basile all around the world. Hey, folks, you want to talk to Father Evagoras? Are you alumni for Ionian Village? I know that I saw all those kids, and I know that a lot of your followers, too, Father Ev, probably want to reach out and say hey to you. Call us right now at 844-790-8255. That's 844-790-8255. And, I got to tell you, Father Ev, I got a chance to watch some of your sermons, and my wife, Kula, look, I'm in communications. That's what I do. Like you, I have my followers, but they come to a comedy club. You bring them to your church. I'm into public speaking. I see what you do. Father Nicholas Lowe, another wonderful, talk about great sermons. Great sermons. And it's captivating. You're hanging on. Even my mother-in-law, who's in her late 70s, loves you. She thinks you're the catch me out. And so I'm like, okay, so I guess, how are we supposed to actually, when we're watching your sermons, when we're watching you at church, it's got to be a little bit strange that you are in front of no one except the camera. And when you give these wonderful sermons, what's it like for you to have to go through that?
It's been a very different and I would venture to say a very difficult process. You have to realize, like, for every clergyman in the entire country, my dad's 67 years old and nobody has ever gone through anything like this. So this is the most abnormal, the most foreign concept that you can possibly entertain. And all of a sudden we went from, Sunday of Orthodoxy, people, icons everywhere, all this craziness, to me, a chanter, and a camera right in the middle of the church. And so it's hard on my end because at the beginning, the first couple weeks, I was really frustrated because it didn't feel like church. It felt like a production, Mm-hmm. I got my president of the parish going, 3, 2, come on, man. It's like, what are we doing here?
Not accustomed to that, right? Not accustomed to that. Hey, folks, we have Father Vinny on the line that called in, Basile. Your call for a phone call has been answered.
Father Vinny.
Yes.
Father Vinny. Hey. And, Father Vinny over in Boston, the greater Boston area. And when I asked him what his last name was, and Father, what is your last name?
Minucci.
Yeah, Minucci. So I'm looking at him. He goes, yeah, what's your name? He goes, Father Vinny Minucci. And the first thing I told him, I goes, are you sure you're at the right church? Shouldn't you be inside of a small little confessional listening to hearing people confess their sins at another church down the road? So, Father, how are you? You doing okay?
Thank God, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. You're on with Father Evagoras, and I'm sure you guys know each other very well.
Very good friends.
We've met once or twice. Oh, yes.
There you go. There's a dichotomy.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I love about the priests that are coming up right now, these are the priests, and it's not like you, because you guys have been around for a while, but the thing is, you captivate your following. You actually, people love coming to church. I love Father Vinny's community up in what was it, in Greater Boston?
Weston, St. Demetrius in Weston.
Okay, and Weston, wonderful priests over there, wonderful community. And Father Ev, I got to come to, because I've been inside that church. I've been into your church before.
Yeah.
And just wonderful. And I love the way, people love you guys. They love you. I mean, I always say you guys are like the religious rock stars. You guys go in there and the kids go crazy. But that's great, because what happens, it brings the youth. And when these kids get married, they're going to bring them to you guys. You guys aren't going to change. There's no way you're going to change. I know it's underneath the raso that you are wearing, my friend. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, but the kids love it. They love it.
Basile, not to cut you off, but a few years ago, we had Father Vinny and his wife. They were trip leaders on our young adult trip, Ivy Next. And it was the summer before Father Vinny got ordained. And so we had about 40 young adults on this trip. And I think it was called Spiritual Odyssey back then, but we had about 40 young adults on this trip. They get back to the States, and Father got ordained I think it was that September, and these kids came from all over America to go to Boston to be there for his ordination. He's one of I'll tell you, I'm sure he's blushing a little bit, but he's one of the best young adult workers that I've seen in the Archdiocese. He has a gift and a talent, and his wife, Dr. Nadia, is one of the smartest. She's been on local, national TV. She's an epidemiologist, and she's been talking about coronavirus and about what the reality is. And this was weeks ago when certain people in our leaderships, weren't exactly on the same page. And she's the one who's been out there waving the red flag. So Father Vinny and Nadia, instead of Nadia, are the couple to beat.
Just some of the nicest people you'll ever met. Humble, and I'm blessed to have you all as friends, but my daughter Caterina was with Father Vinny, and I said, "Would you tell him I said hello?" She goes, "I don't want to go up and say anything because I said, "What do you mean you don't want? You look like me, for God's sakes." He knows who you are. Just go and go, "Hey, I'm Basile's daughter. My father told me to tell you hello," and she thought the world of you, Father Vinny. She really did.
Well, thank you. That's so kind, and I just wanted to say hello. I have a parish council meeting via Zoom teleconferencing in about 5 minutes, but I wanted to come on. I wanted to just take a minute and just explain what Father Evagoras means to me, to my family, and to the wonderful work that he's done, not only for Ionian Village, but for the youth of our country, the youth of the New York, Connecticut area. He's a wonderful guy. And just has an incredible head on his shoulders. So I have to run, but I just wanted to take a minute and just say hello and just express my gratitude to Father Ev, and of course my greetings to you, Basile, and of course to your wonderful family. So thank you for having me on.
We appreciate that, Father Vinny. I just probably one of the coolest cats in the world. And good luck with the parish council meeting. Is it going to be a virtual meeting?
Virtual meeting, that's right. Kalianastasi.
Kalianastasi. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Thank
guys.
you, Father. Let me ask you a question. How are we going to handle Easter this year? And we got, we have we really have a hard wall that we have to hit. But when I start winding up, it's not because I'm cutting you off. So, but how are we going to deal? Because I know we got the directives about the palms and Palm Sunday. There's no eggs. There's no palms. There's no the candles, the lighting of the candle, the Anastasia, as it were. How are we going to handle this?
It's going to be difficult, and it's going to feel foreign to us. It's going to feel like we have been robbed of something almost. And, I've spent most of my day today calling the elderly that we have in our community, right? And, all of them are saying kind of the same thing, like, what are we going to do? But the one thing that, in speaking with them, we all know that the church is a building. And, I'm sure everyone has heard it say before, the church is actually the people. So we're not going to have the stuff. And that's going to be hard, right? We need the stuff. We need the candle. We need the egg and the flour. We need those things to hold in our hands. We're not going to have it. So let's focus on one thing, right? And this is what I'm going to talk about in my sermon. You're taking my sermon stuff now. But this is what I'm going to talk about in my sermon on Sunday, right? We're not going to have anything else. So let's have one thing. Wherever you are, whether you're at your house, whatever you are, find a candle. It can be anything. It can be a candle from Bed Bath & Body Works. It can be a birthday candle. If you can't find that, get a souvlaki skewer and light whatever it is. And at midnight, when you're watching the service, you light that candle, right? Just because it didn't physically pass from one person to the next, does that mean that Christ isn't present? Absolutely not. So wherever you are, you light that candle and you stand there and you watch that screen and you sing Christos Anesti. And if you don't feel the same thing that you feel when you're standing in the church, if not more powerful, because we're away from it, that's what we're going for. So that's what I'm going to tell my people to do, is that we won't have everything else, and that's fine. But this year, find a candle. Find anything that lights on fire safely without burning your house down. I'm not advocating for that. But find one thing, right, that you can light at Anastasia, and you have the light of Christ with you in that moment.
And, and to be honest with you, what else can we possibly do? Like, we're stuck between a rock and a hard spot, like all the churches are, like all the faiths are celebrating. It's difficult, and we have to make the best.
It is in the light of what else is going on, and I'm going to say this quickly. You know what? I had one coronavirus funeral that I had last week. I have 2 coming up next week. We're doing these gravesite. We're doing them 10 family. It's serious. I understand it's going to be different, but yeah, it's time. It's time for us to buckle down and realize that the eggs and the carnations, the mascani, the eggs are not what makes us Christian.
Absolutely. And with that, Father, you're welcome back anytime you want. I love you. Have a Kali Anastasio, happy Easter.
Peace.
For all of you, don't forget to listen every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 New York City time. We can be heard all around the world on AmericaMatters.us. If you're using the TuneIn app, just search America Matters and be sure to keep it on one of your favorites. Questions, comments, go to Basile Fans on Facebook, at Instagram, or on Twitter at Basile Fans, BASILEFANS, at 775-360-6701. Thanks so much for joining us. You are listening to A Pinch of Basil.